Emma sat by the window. She watched the quiet street. Only silence filled the evening air. Once she and Lucy ran and laughed here. They raced bikes down the hill. They shared dreams under the old oak tree. Now the tree stood still and bare. Lucy moved to the Mars colony last month. Emma felt her world had shifted. She did not know how to reach Lucy. Her heart ached with empty spaces. She stared at her hollow screen, hoping for a message to arrive. Each day passed slowly like a long, empty road. She missed Lucy's laughter and warm, bright smile. Emma remembered the day she and Lucy built a small exploration drone. They used spare parts from old radios and wires. Lucy taught Emma how to solder and code. They named the drone Nova. Nova flew over the backyard and sent back simple maps. Emma felt proud of their creation. They dreamed of testing Nova on real planets. They talked of daring missions and grand adventures. Those plans felt far away and empty. The drone sat on her desk, silent and still. Emma touched its metal shell and whispered, "I wish you were here too." Her eyes filled with light hope. Every night Emma sat with her holoscreen. She tried to send messages to Lucy on Mars. The colony network was slow and costly. Each text cost precious credits. She wrote long notes in simple words. She told Lucy about her day and shared new ideas. She added small sketches of the old oak tree and the drone. She stared at the send button for a long time, then she pressed it and waited in silence. Hours passed. No reply came. The empty screen felt cold, and Emma's hope began to tremble. Still, she refused to lose faith in her friend and connection. On a cool morning, Emma walked to the old oak tree. Its branches spread like open arms. She carried a small recording device. She pressed record and spoke softly. "Lucy, I miss you so much. I remember our dreams and our work. I wish to share new ideas with you. I hope my voice finds you well." She smiled at the recording. Then she packed the device into a small drone. She set the drone free into the sky. It flew toward the stars, carrying her voice into the night. Emma watched with hopeful eyes as it disappeared into darkness. Days turned into a week. Emma checked her screen every hour. Still no answer. She felt a knot in her chest. She wondered if Lucy was busy or if the message never arrived. Doubt crept in like a cold wind. But she remembered the human spirit and its power to connect. She recalled how brave people reached each other across oceans and continents long ago. Humanity never gave up on friends. Emma lifted her head and drew a slow, steady breath. She vowed to try again. Hope glowed bright in her heart. She would find a new way soon. Always next morning, she went to the community hub near her home. People gathered there to share news and stories. Emma carried her device and notes. She spoke to the hub's forgers and tinkerers. She asked if they could help her send a stronger signal to Mars. They smiled and joined her cause. They showed her how to tune the antenna and boost the power. They offered parts from old satellites and solar arrays. Emma felt a warm rush of gratitude. These people did not know Lucy, but they cared for Emma. She knew she was not alone. Hope grew stronger by nightfall. The hub team had built a tall antenna on Emma's roof. Blue light pulsed through the new wires and circuits. Emma held her breath as she sent a final test message. Then she left the room and watched the sky. She imagined Lucy on Mars reading the words. She hoped the message would cross the empty gulf. Seconds felt like hours. Then the device beeped and lit up. Emma rushed inside. A reply hovered on the holoscreen. Lucy's simple note glowed. "Emma, I hear you. Can we talk?" Emma smiled and wiped tears away. Her heart soared with joy. Emma pressed the reply button with shaking hands. Her message was short. "Yes, I cannot wait." She felt tears of relief slide down her cheeks. Across the miles and stars, two voices would soon meet again. The human heart could bridge any void. Emma looked up at the sky and whispered one word: hope. She knew the distance mattered less now. They had found a way back to each other. And in that moment, Emma felt the strength of humanity's spirit shine bright, like a beacon across the dark vastness of space. a promise held firm in her hopeful heart. Emma woke to a soft hum in the early dawn on Earth. The glow of her holoscreen lit the small room. She reached for the device, her heart beating fast. Lucy's message waited like a bright star in the void. "Emma, I hear you. Can we talk?" Hope filled her chest and reminded her of the human spirit that never quits. She tapped the call icon and settled into her chair. The hum felt like a soft heartbeat of her home, reminding her she was not truly alone. She whispered, "I'm here," and watched as the connection light began to pulse. Soon, Lucy's face appeared on the screen. Her eyes shone against the red Martian dunes behind her. Emma smiled, her voice trembling. "Lucy," she said, "I missed your face." "What?" Lucy laughed softly, and the sound was like music. "You more," she replied. They shared a quiet moment, letting the bond fill the space. Emma felt tears gather at her eyelids, and she blinked them away so the camera would not blur. It was so human to feel joy and pain at once, but she held on to that mixture with fierce hope. Lucy waved the camera slowly, guiding Emma through the curved glass walls of the Habitat Dome. Rocky hills tinted pink and orange rolled beyond it. Emma watched the gentle hiss of the life support system remind her of earth wind on a calm day. Lucy pointed at a small garden pod where green shoots stretched toward artificial light. "Your plants look strong," Emma said. Lucy grinned. "They keep me hopeful." Emma felt warmth at these words. They both knew how fragile life could be far from Earth, yet they saw hope growing in that little pod on a distant world. Emma turned the view back to her bedroom. Sunlight spilled through tall windows onto rows of books and the silent drone Nova resting on its stand. She ran a hand along Nova's metal shell and thought of the adventures she and Lucy used to imagine under the old oak tree. "Nova is waiting," she told Lucy. "I want to teach her to drive on Mars." Lucy's eyes lit up. "It would be amazing," she said. They laughed at the idea of Nova scuttling across a Martian plain, sending back live images. The project gave them both purpose and a spark of excitement. They talked late into the morning, sharing dreams and plans. Lucy described the new coding tools she had learned in the Martian lab. Emma shared homegrown ideas for strengthening Nova's sensors. She sketched designs on a notepad and held it up to her camera. Lucy traced shapes on her holopad in return. They used simple code names for each part: Sensor Alpha, Module Beta. It felt playful and kind. Their inventions took shape across the screen. Emma's hope grew bright and steady, like a beacon. Distance seemed smaller as humanity's spirit of collaboration reached from Earth to Mars. When the call ended, Emma felt a calm joy. She opened her workshop and gathered spare parts. Bolts, lenses, battery cells, and circuit boards lay on her desk. She set to work, soldering a new sensor for Nova. Each spark reminded her of Lucy's bright spirit and of how Lucy had taught her patience at every solder joint. Outside, the morning breeze rustled the leaves of the old oak tree. Emma paused to watch them dance. Even here on Earth, the world moved on, and so did she. Every twist of her tool brought her closer to Lucy. Over on Mars, Lucy did the same. She fed commands into her console and ran tests on her new module. She hummed a tune they used to sing together as she watched green checkmarks appear. In that small lab pod, Lucy felt Earth's love through every pulse of data. She sent Emma updates, diagrams, code snippets, test results. Emma received them and adjusted her parts. The two friends worked in perfect sync, though they stood millions of kilometers apart. Their teamwork showed the best of humanity and how people can lift each other across the stars. By evening, Emma finished the final assembly. She held Nova in her hands and breathed deep. She sent a message to Lucy. "I'm ready." Under the rising moon, Emma powered the drone's new sensor. The device blinked once, then twice. It hummed with life. Lucy received the signal and grinned, feeling Emma's spirit on the other end. Soon Nova would roll across a Martian plain, sending back images of alien rock and dust. Emma looked up at the night sky and whispered hope. Across the silent night, she could almost feel Lucy's heartbeat on the other end. They had bridged the distance, and humanity's heart shone bright. ChatGPT said. Emma woke before sunrise. The sky was pale and quiet. She stepped onto her porch and closed her eyes. A cool breeze brushed her face. In that moment, she felt the emptiness left by Lucy's move. Emma missed her friend's laughter. More than ever, she wished she could find a new way to reach across the distance. She carried her sketchbook into the soft light. The pages held drawings of their old adventures. Nova, the drone, the oak tree, and star maps they drew under lanterns. Emma flipped through the pages slowly, her fingers tracing each line. Each memory made her heart ache, but it also filled her with hope. She believed that the human spirit could cross any gap. Emma decided to send Lucy a new gift. If words and calls were slow, she needed something richer. She gathered art supplies, colored pencils, markers, and special metallic inks. She planned to draw their favorite places together. First, she outlined the old oak tree, its branches wide and welcoming. She sketched Nova flying above the earth. She added more. A scene of them on a rocky hill, looking at the stars. She drew distant planets with simple circles and shone them with silver ink. Emma wrote a note below. For Lucy, so you can see our home whenever you feel far away. She folded the drawing carefully and placed it in a protective case. Emma walked to the community hub again. The hub was quiet in the early morning. A few neighbors tinkered on small projects. Emma greeted them with a smile. She showed her drawing and explained her plan. The hub's courier team offered to send her gift on the next transport ship to Mars. Emma's heart leaped. She thanked them with tears in her eyes. Back home, Emma set up a small display on her desk. She placed the drawing under a glass dome. She built a simple light system with a lens and bulb so it could glow like a memory beacon. Whenever she felt lonely, she would light it and remember that hope can shine in the dark. Over the next week, Emma worked on improving the display. She added a solar cell to power the light during the day. She connected it to her house grid with a small inverter. Each click of her tools reminded her of Lucy's patient guidance. Even alone, she felt supported by the bond they shared. She sent a brief message to Lucy. New surprise is on the way. Hope it brings you home in your mind. She hesitated. Before pressing send, then she tapped the button. Within seconds, her holoscreen showed the message had left her home. She imagined the gift traveling across space, carried by human hands. While Emma waited for confirmation, she turned her attention to Nova again. She cleaned its gears and tested its motors. She programmed a new flight path for it to trace a pattern in the sky above her home. That pattern would be 3 bright dots, like the stars of a distant constellation. She saved the code and waited for night. On the red sands of Mars, Lucy received Emma's note. She smiled when she saw the drawing captured under a glowing dome. Tears formed as Lucy read Emma's message. She touched the protective case and remembered their shared dreams. Even on a foreign world, she felt the warm roots of their friendship. Lucy replied, "Your gift means the world. I will send you a recording." Emma's holoscreen lit up with the reply, and she read the words again and again. Her chest swelled with pride at humanity's power to connect hearts, even across millions of kilometers. People could reach and help each other. That night, Emma went outside as planned. She carried Nova into the open field near her house. Air was cool. She activated the drone and watched it rise, trailed light as it moved, tracing the 3DOT pattern overhead. She stood beneath the glowing sky, hands clasped over her heart. Emma felt new strength. In her room, Lucy pressed record on her device. She spoke softly into the microphone. "Emma, I see your light in my sky. I feel your story in my heart. Thank you for reminding me of home." She ended the recording and sent the file to Emma. The message soared through space and data streams. Emma awoke the next morning to a notification. She opened the recording and listened. Lucy's voice carried hope and warmth. Emma smiled wide, her sadness lifting like morning mist. She replied at once, "Your voice guides me. We are never truly apart." She saved the recording and placed it beside her glowing drawing. Emma looked at the bright dome and listened to Lucy's message. One more time. She felt a bond too strong for distance. Humanity's spirit could bridge worlds. Emma whispered to the empty sky, "We are together." And she believed it with all her heart. Emma stepped into her workshop before dawn, the air cool and still. The soft hum of her tools greeted her like an old friend. After the drone sky show and the glowing drawing, she wondered what to try next. She wanted something more, something that would let her and Lucy share a moment in the same place. Even though they were worlds apart, she thought of virtual worlds. People long ago built whole places inside machines where friends could meet without leaving home. She could make a small virtual room. Lucy might step in from Mars, and they could stand beneath the oak tree together again. The idea filled Emma with hope. She cleared her bench and opened her holoconsole. Lines of code scrolled across the screen. She wrote simple commands to build a digital version of her backyard. First, she mapped the old oak tree, its thick trunk, arching branches, and rough bark. Next, she added the bench where they sat and watched the sunset. Then came the sky soft blue with drifting clouds. Nights passed as Emma worked. Circuits for her VR headset and programmed light sensors to track her head movements. She shaped a small wooden frame for the headset's outer shell. Every evening, she stopped to look at the real oak tree, making sure her digital version was true to life. She believed that human hands could bring distant friends closer, even through screens. Meanwhile on Mars, Lucy watched Emma's progress through their data link. She sent messages. "Your tree looks alive, and the bench needs a cushion." Emma laughed as she adjusted the code. Together, they tweaked the virtual world. Lucy described the colors of the Martian sky and suggested they add a digital sunset. Emma agreed. She wrote new lines of code to paint the sky in shades of pink and gold. At home, Emma tested the headset for the first time. She slipped it over her eyes and heard the soft chirp of cicadas in her virtual backyard. She reached out and touched the trees. Bark it felt smooth through the haptic sensors. A breeze rustled the leaves overhead, carried by small fans inside the headset. Emma felt a warm glow in her chest. This was more than code. It was a promise of connection. She recorded a short invitation. "Meet me here at sunset," and sent it to Lucy with a simple note. Then she adjusted the headset's communications module, boosting the signal to reach Mars. She watched the data stream climb across charts on her screen. When the link showed connected, Emma's pulse quickened. At the appointed time, Emma sat on the virtual bench. Her real body held still, but her mind felt free. Across 300 million kilometers, Lucy logged in. Her avatar appeared by the tree, hair drifting as if caught in a soft breeze. Emma heard her voice in her earphones. "Emma, is this real?" She laughed and said, "It is, as long as we share it." They walked under the oak's branches, their digital footprints stirring virtual dust. Emma guided Lucy's hand to the bark. "Feel how solid it is," she said. Lucy pressed her palm forward and nodded. "I miss it," she whispered. Emma touched her arm in the virtual world. "We are here together now," she replied. They talked as the virtual sun dipped low, painting the sky in gentle colors. They shared dreams for Nova, for their future projects, and for new adventures on both Earth and Mars. Emma pointed to a small table she built in the code. On it sat a virtual model of their drone. Lucy leaned in and tapped the model's wing. Characters of code scrolled in Emma's console, updating the world in real time. After an hour, the simulation began to fade as the session reached its time limit. The oak branches dissolved into pixels, and the bench melted into soft light. Emma felt a twinge of sadness, but also pride. They had done it. Human ingenuity had bridged a gulf of stars. They had found a way to be together again when Emma removed. The headset dawn light poured into her workshop. She looked at the empty bench in her real backyard. The oak tree stood silent and still, yet Emma felt a thrill of hope. In her mind, she carried the memory of that virtual sunset. No matter how far away Lucy was, they could meet beneath the same tree. She cleaned her tools and packed the headset into a small carry box. She sent one last message to Lucy. "Thank you for bringing my world alive," Lucy replied almost instantly. "Thank you for bringing our friendship home." Emma smiled and let the words settle in her heart. Later, Emma walked outside and sat under the real oak tree. A soft breeze rustled the leaves. She closed her eyes and imagined Lucy beside her. For a moment, she could almost feel her friend's presence. The memory of their virtual meeting glowed inside her, a beacon of hope and human spirit. In that quiet morning light, Emma whispered to the tree, "We will never be apart," and she believed it. Her heart beat steady with hope, for she knew that humanity could always find a way to connect, no matter the distance. Emma walked along the riverbank at dawn. The soft light spread across the water, turning it to liquid gold. She held her recording device close and spoke quietly into it.
Oh.
"Lucy, I need you here," she said. Her voice trembled but did not break. Emma believed in her own heart. She believed in the human spirit that could reach across any divide. She pressed stop and smiled at the river's curve. The sound of flowing water gave her calm. She remembered how she and Lucy once sat here, sharing dreams and secrets. They carved their names into the stone by the bank. Emma ran her fingertip along the faint letters. The stone felt cool under her skin, like a promise waiting to be kept. Back home, Emma set up a small transmitter in her living room. It was different. From the big antenna, or the virtual world, this device would send her voice into space as a radio beacon. She wound wires around a coil and connected it to a signal processor. Each twist of the screwdriver reminded her of Lucy's hands on a soldering iron. She smiled at the memory and tightened one last bolt. She programmed the beacon to broadcast on a frequency used by exploratory ships orbiting Mars. She typed simple code. Then she loaded her recorded message. "Lucy, please listen," the device whispered when she ran a test. The signal pulsed through the coils. Emma watched the waveform dance on the screen. It felt alive, like a living bridge between worlds. The next night, Emma carried the beacon to the top of the old water tower. She climbed the rusty steps, feeling the metal under her boots. At the top, she set up the device on a flat platform. The town lay quiet below. She could see rooftops and streetlights fading into darkness. Beyond them, the sky stretched wide and full of stars. Emma switched on the beacon. It began to hum. A soft red light blinked in time with her voice recording. She tapped the play button. "Lucy, I send you my voice across the stars. I send you hope. I send you this place, our river, and my heart." The words repeated in clear waves, climbing into the cold night air. She listened as the beacon looped her message again and again. She imagined each pulse traveling millions of kilometers, reaching the Martian orbiter. She imagined Lucy hearing her voice after dusk on Mars. Emma held her breath and watched the little red light blink.
Oh.
In that moment, she felt strength grow in her chest. While the beacon ran, Emma sat on the platform's edge and gazed up at the sky. She looked for the bright red dot of Mars. She found it near the horizon. It shone like a distant lantern. She whispered, "I see you there, Lucy." She pressed her hand to her heart and held the feeling of hope close. Back in her workshop, Emma waited for an answer. It might take hours, maybe days. She did not know. She turned her attention to a new project, a simple music box. She took apart an old tin and put a tiny motor inside, attached a cylinder with pins to play a melody. The tune was the one she and Lucy made for Nova the drone. It was simple, a gentle lullaby. Emma wound the music box and tested it. The first notes rang out soft and clear. She closed her eyes and let the melody fill the room. She thought of Lucy humming the tune in her habitat dome. She thought of them both listening at the same time on different worlds. The thought made her heart swell with quiet joy. Days later, Emma checked her holoscreen for new data. A small packet from the Martian orbiter had arrived. Her beacon had reached a relay satellite. The packet contained a recording. Emma opened it and heard Lucy's voice. "Emma, I heard you. I heard our river. I felt your hope." Lucy paused. Emma's breath caught. Then Lucy continued, "I miss you. Wish I could sit by that river again." Emma stood and let tears run down her cheeks. She wiped them away and smiled through her tears. She pressed play again. Lucy's voice was full of warmth and strength. Emma replied in her mind, "I will bring the river to you. She knew exactly what to do next. That evening, Emma built a small water feature in her living room. She made a clear glass basin and filled it with river water she had collected. She added smooth stones from the bank and a tiny pump to make a gentle flow. She placed speakers under the basin to play recordings of birds and night insects from the riverbank. When the feature was ready, Emma recorded a video. Flowing water and green leaves she had brought from the oak tree's branches. She spoke softly. "Lucy, our river flows here now. Listen and remember home." She sent the video through the same beacon channel. On Mars, Lucy watched the video. She heard the water's gentle rush and saw the bright green leaves. She touched her screen and smiled. Across the miles, she felt Emma's riverside beside her. Lucy pressed record and made her own video. Showed a tiny Martian plant she had grown with earth seeds. She spoke, "Emma, our river flows in my habitat too. I'm growing this plant for you." Emma received the video the next morning. She watched the little green sprout swaying in Martian light. She smiled and touched her screen. She felt Lucy's presence. She thought of rivers and gardens on two worlds. She whispered, "We are together." Emma looked at the flowing water in her living room. She heard the recording of the river. She watched a single leaf drift in the glass basin. She held on to hope. She believed humanity could reach any friend, no matter how far. She believed the human heart was the strongest link of all. Emma woke with a start as the sun rose over new. Tara, today was special. She would share music with Lucy. Music was their bond. As children, they sang together under the oak tree. Now Emma felt distant, but she believed in human spirit and hope. She smiled and rose from bed. She walked to her workshop and opened a small case. Inside lay a portable audio transmitter she had built. The device looked like a tiny radio, with dials and a glowing antenna. Emma held it in her hands and remembered Lucy's laughter when they first heard it hum. She felt warmth in her chest. Emma headed to the community music hall. Inside, neighbors tuned instruments, guitars, flutes, and a small drum, some held. Tambourines and simple wooden sticks. Emma greeted them all. "Thank you for helping," she said. They nodded and smiled. They did not know Lucy, but they cared for Emma. She showed them sheet music she and Lucy had written years ago. It was a simple melody, full of rising notes and soft rhythms. They called it Home Song. Emma tapped the beat on a table. Musicians looked at the notes and began to play. The guitar wove gentle chords. The flute sang clear notes. The drum kept steady time. Emma closed her eyes and let the music fill her. She saw Lucy's face beside her. She felt Lucy's hands on her shoulder. For a moment, she forgot the miles between them. When the piece ended, applause rang out. Emma clapped too, her eyes shining. Next, Emma set up the transmitter on a table. She plugged in the audio cable from the hall's speakers. She switched on the device. The antenna vibrated with a soft blue glow. Emma typed simple code into her holoconsole to boost the signal. She aimed the antenna toward Mars. She pictured Lucy listening. "Ready?" Emma asked. The musicians nodded. She raised her hand like a conductor. The hall grew quiet. She brought her hand down. The home song began again. This time it traveled beyond the walls, across space. Emma watched the signal meter rise. She held her breath. On Mars, inside her habitat dome, Lucy heard the faint tune. She paused her work and listened. The notes drifted through her speakers, soft and clear. Her eyes filled with tears. She did not expect to hear their song on this red world. It felt like Lucy's heart reaching across millions of kilometers. Back on Nutera, Emma watched the meters. The signal held strong. She felt pride in human ingenuity. People on two worlds could share music at the same moment. She raised her hand again, slowing to a gentle finish. The horns and strings faded into silence. Emma pressed a record button. The transmitter looped the song again and again. No? She knew Lucy could replay it whenever she needed. She sent one last message. "We sing with you." Then she packed up the device. Later, Emma received a packet of data. contained a recording from Mars. Lucy had recorded herself and other colonists singing along. Their voices were soft but brave. Lucy's voice led with the same melody. Emma opened the audio file and played it through her workshop speakers. Emma closed her eyes. She heard human voices from two planets becoming one choir. The harmony was gentle and strong. She felt tears slide down her cheeks. Each note carried hope. Each voice said, "We are together." She wrote a thank you note to the community hall musicians and sent it along with Lucy's recording. She added simple words, "Our song lives in both our worlds." Emma saved the file in her holoconsole so she could listen whenever she missed Lucy. That night, Emma walked to the oak tree with her headset. She sat on the bench and pressed play. The music filled the quiet air. The tree's leaves rustled as if to the beat. Emma let the sound wrap around her. She closed her eyes and imagined Lucy sitting beside her, singing softly. Emma whispered into the night, "We are never far." The melody rose and fell. Warmed her heart. She believed that humanity could bridge any distance with creativity and care. And under the wide sky, she felt Lucy's presence as clearly as if she were home again. ChatGPT said, Emma woke to a gentle rain tapping on her window. The sky was soft and gray, and she felt a quiet calm. Today was the final day of her projected gift for Lucy that would bring them together at last. Emma rose from her bed and walked to her workshop. Her heart beat with hope. On her desk lay a small capsule. It was round like a moon and smooth like river stones. Inside, Emma had placed tiny samples, a drop of river water, pressed oak leaf, and a few grains of Martian soil Lucy had sent. She had sealed them in clear tubes and added a note, "Carry a piece of home with you." Now she needed to send the capsule on its journey. Emma grabbed her coat and stepped into the rain. She walked to the spaceport at the edge of town. Clouds hid the stars, but she could still feel their distant light. At the port, cargo ships arrived and left on silent engines. Emma carried the capsule to the shipping desk. Kind attendant scanned her package and smiled. Final destination, Mars Habitat Bay. Emma nodded, her eyes bright. Back home, Emma set up a simple receiver in her living room. She built it from old satellite parts and a small dish antenna. She pointed it at the sky. On the console, she typed code to listen for the capsule's arrival signal. She named it Echo Beacon. The beacon would ping back when the capsule reached Lucy's habitat. Emma sat by her window and watched the raindrops race each other. She remembered all they had done: messages, music, stories, virtual worlds. Each act of human creativity had brought them closer. Each gift had shown kindness and courage. Humanity's spirit had built bridges of light and song. Now one last gift remained. A soft chime sounded on her console. Emma's breath caught. The echo beacon had detected the capsule's signal. It came from high above Mars's orbit. Checked the time, it was dawn on Mars. Emma pressed a button and spoke into her hollow microphone. "Lucy, I hope you feel my heart today." Far away, inside the red habitat dome, Lucy heard a ping on her own receiver. She picked up the capsule at the docking bay. Carefully, she opened the case and found Emma's gifts. She smiled as she touched the oak leaf and lifted the tiny tube of river water. She breathed in the gentle scent of earth. Her eyes filled with tears. She turned on her holoscreen and spoke softly. "Emma, your gift is here. I feel home." Console lights flicker. She saw Lucy's face appear on her holoscreen, damp hair pressed against her temple from the rain. Emma held up the round capsule. "It reached you," she whispered. Lucy held up her hand and nodded. Both women felt the distance melt away. They set a time to meet in their shared virtual space one last time. Emma returned to her workshop and fetched her VR headset. She placed the capsule on a small pedestal beside her desk. She wanted the gift to stand between them, a symbol of their bond. She slipped on the headset and opened the program. Inside, the virtual courtyard, the oak tree stood tall and green. Rain fell softly, but no one felt wet. A clear pond reflected the tree in the pale sky. Emma walked beneath the branches and saw Lucy's avatar waiting. Lucy held the capsule, and it glowed with gentle light. "Thank you," Lucy said. Her holographic voice echoed with warmth. Emma reached out and touched the capsule's glow. "We're together now," Emma replied. They stood side by side under the tree. The rain slowed to a soft mist, like a blessing. Lucy opened the capsule in the virtual world. She poured a drop of river water into the pond. The water rippled and shimmered with faint stars. Then she placed the oak leaf on the ground. A tiny sprout of green grew from the soil, reaching toward the rain. Finally, she showed the few grains of red soil. Lucy sprinkled them around the sprout. The earth mixed as two worlds joined. Both women watched the new plant grow, stretch branches and leaves in moments, filling the space with light and life. Emma felt tears of joy fall down her cheeks. Lucy's eyes shone bright. They knew this plant would live in both of their worlds, a testament to hope and the power of human kindness. When the simulation ended, Emma removed her headset. The rain had stopped. Sunlight peeked through the clouds, painting the wet leaves on her window with gold. She walked outside and sat beneath the real oak tree. She held the virtual plant's image in her mind. She closed her eyes and breathed deep. On Mars, Lucy did the same. She held a small pot with a sample sprout from their virtual gift. It grew under her dome's soft lights. She pressed the pot to her cheek and whispered, "We are never apart." Emma listened to her echo beacon one last time. It fell silent. The mission was complete, but the bond remained strong. She looked up at the clearing sky and imagined Lucy. On Mars, looking up at her red sky, she said the word that had carried them through every challenge: hope. In that quiet moment, Emma believed anything was possible. Humanity could span the stars and still hold each other close. Distance was only a test of faith, and hope would always be their greatest invention.